12, 2018.
Thank you, Katie. Give a roll call, please.
Mayor Coles.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Committeeman Lichtenstein is absent. Committeeman Ackerman.
Here.
Committeeman Delia.
Here. Thank you. Everybody please rise for a salute to the flag. Remain standing for the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we look at our blessing from authority, so that they may serve the people. Look down with mercy on our weaknesses and stretch forth your divine power to guide us. All this we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Stand for one moment. I'd like everybody to do a moment of silence in memory of Brother John Martin, who passed away. He dedicated most of his life to Ocean County. He owed him a great deal. Thank you. Please, we have a short presentation to start the evening tonight. I'll turn it over to Elizabeth Winters. Anybody else is joining me down here today?
Good evening, Mayor and Township Committee. It's been almost a year and a half since I was here pleading with you to provide us for our football team uniforms, which thanks to your help, our football team was on a winning season that year with several of our graduates from Townsend University, University of Maine, and other places. Then I came another night. Actually, we saw each other at a parade, and our team, our marchers, didn't have uniforms. And thanks to you, they now have uniforms. So tonight, we wanted to say thank you. I'm not sure why. How about face the other way?
More people out there.
We wanted to say thank you because in Lakewood schools we have students who speak Yiddish, the card here, speak Polish, speak Spanish, speak English, and speak Hebrew. And we wanted to thank the Township Committee in all the languages that we speak. Thank you for everything you do for us. Let's have a hand for the Township. Each person up there, as many as you have. Go ahead, give them. They don't like it. They help. I know. We will save the Italian for next year, but just to give you some good statistics, which don't get out there despite my friends hearing them, but maybe they'll get out there again today. We just were reviewed by the county, the Department of Education County Office, in what's called QSAC. It was just completed just yesterday. And there's one category called governance, which looks at how the board operates. And we got, for the first time in at least 20 years, the best score of 100%. But when you have no money, and when you need uniforms, and when you need the marching band, that's what I was thinking of, getting uniforms, and when you need money for extra special ed and extra after-school clubs, it leads to such things as, and Ms. Winters gave me these statistics, our test scores are up, our graduation rate at the high school is up, all of our schools now have increased in stability, and other than the high school, which we're still working on, the test scores have seen noticeable improvements by state standards. And this is all because despite our teachers who work very, very hard, you can work hard when you don't have sports, and you don't have football, and you don't have uniforms, you don't have after-school clubs, it hurts. So our teachers now have the help of you helping us, and we thank you. The LEA for the first time has gotten a raise, a reasonable raise. The LAA has gotten a reasonable raise, which leads to stability. What we have seen here, and the statistics prove it, over the years, first-year teachers come here, we train them, and then they leave for bigger pastures. Now they're actually staying more so than in the past. And finally, we haven't canceled the board meeting since last July 2017, which is a big thing for us to have a quorum. And these are some of the things that, again, knowing that you are there for us and you are there to help us, and thank you once again. We have a short little presentation by some of our Oak Street singers, so we ask you to indulge us just for a short moment. This is Wilson, our music teacher from Oak Street School. He did this performance at one of our games. And of course, we have Mr. Schroeder, who was honored by your committee not too long ago, who has showed his minors and colors throughout. So if you would, here we go.
We have, if you don't mind, we have 3 short numbers because we're so excited to sing for you. So our first is Martin.
How about they some each other so that everyone can see?
Oh, okay, so after you say this way.
How you go? Okay, very nice.
Oh, on camera?
This is perfect.
It's good?
Okay, so no, sorry, guys, it's this way.
Okay, look that way. And we want to thank tonight many of the parents who came out tonight. So thank you. Despite working 2 or 3 jobs and taking care of their children and making time for these events, we thank you.
Thank you. on the violin. Their music teacher who taught it to them couldn't be here tonight, but it's Mr. Greenberg. So it's pretty cool. it's an honor tonight to get the call to come to perform for you. We really appreciate it. They were so excited to take you.
Very excited to have her.
This is my wish for the world, that peace will find its way to every boy and girl. This is the time of harmony. Let love be the song that everybody sings. Fill the air with joyful noise. Ring the bells and raise your voice. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Lift your light, let it shine. Shine, shine, shine. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. I hear the sweetest sound, the sound of hope to come. Together we can bring goodwill to everyone. Let it start with you. Let it start with me. Let every nation rise and sing this melody. Fill the air with joyful noise. Ring the bells and raise your voice. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Lift your light, let it shine. Shine, shine, shine. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Oh, oh, Fill the air with joyful noise. Ring the bells and raise your voice. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Lift your light, let it shine. Shine, shine, shine. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Fill the air with joyful noise. Ring the bells and raise your voice. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Lift your light, let it shine. Shine, shine, shine. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on the earth.
Eso mal, No, yo no pensé mal. Igual como dije a la... Algo que creo... Lo que tú haces... Bueno, la que... Pero un chiste... Estar mal.
One other short, very short. So as you see, Pioneer Pride is back. And despite adversity and odds, we are going to survive and out of that large. We have here tonight a few of our coaches. We have Oscar and our coach. I will proudly go ahead and congratulate. I'm Ryan, another proud Lakewood coach. Another proud coach. We want to continue to show you that your investment in us has dividends, both teammates, which we love, both sports, which we love, and also academics. So we bring to you two students, both seniors, right? Both seniors. They're just going to give you a physical meeting to produce in Lakewood School. Not just the stuff you hear about, it's more like this stuff you're about to hear about. So if you could tell us who you are and a little about yourself, go ahead.
Hello, how are you? My name is Justin Vega, first in my senior class and captain of the baseball team. And I'm just here to, not only on my behalf, not the baseball team's behalf, but everyone's behalf. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Ty Pierce, senior captain of the football team and indoor track. Just want to say thank all of you for everything that you've done throughout all my years. I'm sure all my education is where it needs to be, and hope to continue for the future.
He's a little shy, but his grades and his sports have actually earned him a full ride to Christian River College.
Texas Southern University.
Texas Southern University. We have in the audience more of our high school kids. If you can stand up. These are our high school kids. Many of them, in addition to going to school, playing sports, work jobs at night, and are dedicated to our cause. And as we end, let's not forget 5 words. You ready? Repeat after me. Piners. I don't hear you. Piners. Pride is back. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Solo tu cara sí es buena. We gonna have 4 years. You couldn't like
Since I'm the only minor up here, I want to thank you because you're a fabulous front man. But I really want to thank Ms. Winters and all the teachers. Pioneer Pride is back, and it's back strong, and this makes me very proud of the Pioneer Pride.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you for coming. Gracias. Buenas noches. Feliz Navidad, no? All right, thank you. Gracias for coming. Thank you. Say bye. Thank you for coming. Gracias.
No, stop it, please. I can't say. This is where Thank you for coming. Wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Gracias. Buenas noches. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's get started again, please.
Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Come on. I took 5 years of Spanish. I got it, right?
No bad.
5 words, he said. 5 words, gracias.
Good night, Michael. All right, let's get back to business. We'll open the meeting to the public. Anybody who'd like to be heard, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Singing is totally out. Oh, I'd like to see that. Come on.
Shloim McLean, 189. What a chutzpah. The attorney stands up over here and thanks the committee for spending good money on the public school. You know whose money that is? Not yours. It's ours, the residents of Lakewood. And it's good money spent, but you should thank the residents of Lakewood that their money was spent on these beautiful kids that were singing over here. And I'm not objecting to any of that. I actually was once the public school trying to put in a Jewish child over there. The behavior of these kids in the public school was outstanding. So they're doing a great job and the money is well spent. But the attorney should come up and thank the residents that their money is being given to them. So it was very upsetting is that you are being thanked for spending somebody else's money. Just putting it as a point. Then there is a planning board member. His name is Justin Flansbaum. It came up on the planning board, another street that they asked for a waiver of sidewalks. And he was very much outstanding that they should give him this waiver. He shouldn't have to put in the sidewalk. This guy, Justin, is being the most paid employee in the township. He's very well connected. And it's mind-boggling that what does he have on the safety? He was against sidewalks in the industrial park, we have to fight him. It comes up any time that he could get a waiver of sidewalks, he's out there to get. And I asked him once, what is with the kids that are supposed to walk on these sidewalks? He says they shouldn't walk. Definition, they should get killed. He doesn't have no compassion for life. Such a guy should not be in the planning board. I don't care what you give him hush money in the MUA. But the fact of the matter is, it's a disgrace that this guy is still advocating, after so many people are getting killed, he's still advocating for no sidewalks on Lakewood. And it was, even the other members on the planning board got intimidated by him. He stands up, they didn't want to fight with him. But I think maybe you should look into it. I know you're out of a job next month, and you might be in a job. I don't know what the vote will decide on your fate. But the end of the game is sidewalks in Lakewood. Somebody that comes today in Lakewood and says there's no sidewalks, the guy should be booted out of Lakewood. Another thing, Oprahs. You're giving a hard time with Oprahs. Sometimes you're good, but you're trying to get away with it. What's going to end up happening is, I know your attorney is giving you some good advice, but he wants to make money. Because if you're violating the Oprah laws and you're not reasonable, what happens is you will get sued. And guess what? They will win. And who gets to pay this money when you win? The taxpayers. He gets money for fighting this lawsuit. The attorney that is going to win on the other side, for the plaintiff, you're also going to end up paying him. For what? Because you wanted to show that some kind of emails or some kind of the papers that the township should make public. What are you trying to hide? You're trying to hide something? Again, I'm just bringing this out because you're not going to win this. There's laws out there. The laws was not created just for Lakewood. Lakewood is trying to get out of it. I think, again, I'm accusing the wrong person. But basically it seems like the new administration is coming in and they just now out there to just not be open to the public. So I just want to mention this again. I know my time is up, and yeah, Mike gets a lot of time because he spends taxpayers' money. But the Oprah, the situation that you're trying to limit what people get, and it's unacceptable. Thank you.
I just happened to walk by when you were having a conversation with Pat the other day. And to me, it sounded like he was going out of his way to try and help you.
That's
get
correct.
the information to get the Oprahs and stuff. And that is the philosophy of the township, is I want as much transparency as possible. I don't know the specifics that you're talking about. I'll talk to them after the meeting or tomorrow. But my philosophy is we try and make things open and transparent as possible. I don't know the specifics, but I'll look into it.
Thank you. And what is the adjustment? Could we get rid of it? Not literally, but...
I will talk about the sidewalks, because I have a very strong feeling on sidewalks. I don't know the specifics, I don't know what happened, I need to look at the speak to people involved.
Thank you.
Mayor, could we go back for approval of minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. 1 second, David. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for executive regular workshop November 29th? Moved by Mike. I'll second. Second by Isaac, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thanks, David, sorry about that. All right, David.
David Roper, 133 Lower Avenue. I've heard some stories to install GPS in township, but I think it's a good idea because I want to locate someone if someone calls up and says, gee, where's my inspector? When do you plan to do this?
Pat, what's our time frame?
January.
Good enough? See, nobody else will vote? Oh. I'm not cooking up with the gavel anymore, no.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to say.
I need your name and address for the record first.
Okay. My name is Arthur Eliezer. I live on 16 Birch Street. It's tremendously beneficial to all people, especially young children, to be around nature. And when that's taken away from them, you're taking away billions of dollars worth of quality differences between boys that grow up in city versus kids that grow up in country atmospheres. That's number one. I want to say something. Presidents, senators, governors, very often, after they leave their job, they have a lot of regret. I could have done this, I could have done that when I was in that position. Now I want to tell you that you are the representatives of the Jewish people. Now today's days, we're all aware about, morality has gone down tremendously this generation. And people are using the gift that God gave us, which is freedom. People are using that gift against God. They say, we're going to take freedom to where you never believe we'll take it. Right? The freedom. I can walk around inappropriately. Right? I can walk around dressed however I want, right? That's one thing. So what I want to tell you is that you don't know how much power you have. If I was the mayor of Lakewood, what I would say is, not in Lakewood. You want to bring transsexual bathrooms into, you see this is mind-boggling, this performance of this school over here. It was mind-boggling. Now, you have politicians that are trying to take these pure young kids and teach them to be immoral, teach them to grow up in a non-pro-life fashion. And I want to tell you something. Many times people say, I'm worried I'm going to get sued. I'm worried I'm going to get sued, right? But many times, actually usually, people choose what to worry about. Okay? So if they have a reason why not to do it, they say, oh, I'm worried about a lawsuit. Between me and you, okay, you could file a lawsuit against them for ruining our society, and I call for pornography to be banned from Lakewood, and it should be banned from the whole world. And I want to say that 50 years ago, if someone was gay, it was called the sin that better not mention its name. That's what it was called. The sin that better not mention its name. Today's days, they're all over about it. And I'll tell you something. Why, if you're telling me that just teaching them to be tolerant of all people, right? So why don't they call it the Pride Month? They should call it Tolerance Month, right? Now, I'm not saying this, I'm very pro. I'm not anti. I'm pro. I'm not anti. But I'm telling you that you have abilities that beyond your comprehension. This is also many times when someone's very rich, they realize that then they become poor, they realize when they were rich, they could have done so much. Right? So I'm telling you have the ability to stand up for morality and do it. And Hashem will be with you.
Good time. Anybody else? See, nobody will close the public portion. Is there anything that anybody would like to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing nothing, to have a motion? Moved by Manat, second by Mike. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Yes.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Coles?
Yes. All right, ordinances for second reading. We'll do the abatement first, and then before we get into the pilots, I'll have a little presentation. So,
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, pursuant to NJSA 48:21-1 et sec, granting abatement to local property taxes to Excel Business Park 1 LLC for facilities located at Block 411, Lot 82, 501 Prospect Street, and authorizing the mayor and or his designee and the township clerk to execute any and all documents necessary and proper to enter into a tax abatement agreement.
thanks. This time, before we open the meeting to the public, I'm going to have the applicant come forward. So, is the representatives from the project here tonight? How are you, man? Sorry to keep you waiting, sir.
Actually,
Name and address of the record, and we'll just a brief overview.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Santo Pizzotti, P-E-Z-Z-O-T-T-I, 217 Green Drive, Churchville, Pennsylvania, 18966. I'm the representative for ourselves. We built a 40,000 square foot building. We currently have 4 tenants. The building is booked to at least 100%. We have one tenant that is a building supply yard, 15,000 square feet. We have another tenant that is a commercial kitchen for a local catering company and another facility in one area.
at the end of the
I would say, at the building supply yard, you probably have 10. At the online sales, company, we probably have 3 or 4. The kosher cooking, facility, I would imagine is probably gonna have 5 to 6, maybe 7. The advanced behavioral science center, I believe, has about 30 or 40.
Anybody have any questions? No. Thanks very much. If anybody from the audience has questions, you want to stick to answer a case specific question?
First of all, a general comment.
Don't stand and address the question.
Lenny Klein, 189. Just a general comment. It seems like everybody that is this first question, was he taking down an old building and building a new one, or it was no building there and he built something new? There was no building. So it seems like everybody that builds something in Lakewood gets the tax abatement. What I don't like about it, just in a general thing, is there's nothing to do with you guys. Everybody gets it, but you should get the same treatment as everybody else. Is that you don't have a common thing is that some people just, if you build, you get it. You have to come on and speak and beg, and it's a recipe from the whoever looks at it from the other side, not from the base, from the public side, is that it seems like you have to know somebody to get it done. You know, it probably is not like that because it's over here, everybody gets it. But it's because I'm just putting you in perspective in the eyes of the public. Because you see is that every time somebody has to get out and explain to you what it is and when it is, and if not, they wouldn't get it. It could be is that things are done, like there is some rumors, not on this subject, but in general, there's some stuff over here done in backroom deals. And why is that not a thing that everybody gets it, and you just have to come and explain and make sure you get it, and you have to hire your attorney? No, your owner. He's the property manager. So it seems like you should just submit paperwork, you get it like everybody else, and you should not become, this committee guy, that committee guy is speak to them before, and I'll come, I'll make my show, and you will approve it. That's in the eyes of the public, this might be looked at it that way. Just, it's not.
Never heard it put that way, but I see your point. But do you have any questions on it?
No, the question is not the accusation that I'm accusing you. I'm not trying to accuse you. I'm just trying to find out if there's any way to do this, or everybody gets it, not just that you have to come out and beg for it.
I don't consider it begging. What I ask people to do, and there is no rule that says if you don't come and give a presentation, you don't get the abatement. What we do is we ask people to come to explain it to the committee as to what the particular job is about, so that people in the audience will hear and see that it's a transparent process, that we're coming in and we're not giving abatements out to people who really aren't providing jobs. And at the end of the day, the reason I've supported, I think, just about every abatement that's come before me, is not for the gentleman or the owner of the building standing next to you, it's for the businesses that are going into that building, because they're the ones who are paying the taxes. And a lot of times, it's a business that's just starting out, and that $200 a month savings could be the difference between them succeeding and not succeeding. I go back to myself. 30 years ago, I went to a building in the industrial park. It had an abatement on it. I was the last original tenant. And starting from scratch with nothing, I was able to get my business going to the point where almost 30 years later it was still there. And I look back at the fact that that abatement over a period of 5 years gave me a little bit of money to be able to pay the bills, pay the people, and pay myself, and get that business to the point now where for 30 years it's been providing living for people. The same thing that these businesses, hopefully, that get the benefit of the abatement will be able to do to the people who work for them and their families.
But it's not only them and it's not only you. It's the taxpayer that pays the burden for it. Because these businesses should be paying taxes if not abated. So technically, as my taxes are being high, or not going back low, or being high, because these businesses are getting this abatement. So the question is, if the residents of Lakewood are gaining from these guys getting this abatement, I understand that we have to help the public school kids, that I totally agree. I just don't know is that if the residents of Lakewood are comfortable with helping out businesses, it's a good deed to do that.
It's also one of the reasons why Lakewood has one of the most successful industrial parks in the state. Because we have a program like that where these businesses have an opportunity to get started. That's what economic development is about. To attract the businesses here, give them an opportunity to start, provide jobs to the people.
Well,
who live
I
in
gain
town.
out of that.
You gain, in fact, you have a stable tax rate because they're not free. You're still paying your property taxes on the land. And it escalates percentage-wise each year down the road towards the full taxes. And then those tenants are now not only supporting their people, but the additional, work in the town.
Thank you. Time's up.
Just want to say one thing.
All right, name and address for the record. It's gotta be about this.
I know.
Okay.
Out the end of it, 16 Bush Street. I think instead of giving a tax abatement for some people, I'm not saying he shouldn't get it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that maybe instead of giving a tax abatement for some people, you should lower the taxes of everybody. That's number one. Number two is Donald Trump. He got a tax abatement years ago when Manhattan was going downhill, and he wanted to build a hotel. And he was giving a lot back to the town. Okay, now one thing I want to say is, I think, is it going to be, in this company, are there going to be people from Lakewood that are going to get jobs in the company?
I'm assuming some many will be.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's all I have to say about it.
Thanks. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much. We'll close the public hearing on this ordinance. We'll have a motion. Motion. Moved by Mike. Second by Menashe. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman,
You have to recuse yourself from this vote.
Committeeman Delia,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. Congratulations. Get home safe tonight. Thank you.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State of New Jersey, approving the pilot application authorizing the mayor and township clerk to execute a financial agreement by and between the Township of Lakewood and AOTSR LLC pursuant to NJSA 48:20-1 et sec for property known as a portion of lot 961.02 lot 1, proposed lot 1.05, as shown on the official tax map of the Township of Lakewood located in Savory Redevelopment Plan Area.
All right, thanks. Before we open the meeting to the public on this one, I'm going to ask Mr. Inverno from Phoenix Advisors just to give us a very brief overview of the pilot process, how it worked, how it was negotiated out, and to remain around just in case any particular questions.
Sure, thank you. I'm Anthony Inverso from Phoenix Advisors. We're working with the township in regards to the pilot application. Just a brief, very high-level overview. Pilots are utilized for areas that were designated in need of redevelopments. There are properties in the township that many years ago, almost 20 years ago, were deemed in need of redevelopment. So there's a designation that can be brought on those sites as area in need of redevelopment. That opens it up to opportunities for pilots for businesses and development coming in, whether it's residential or commercial, mixed use, so on and so forth. The thought is, by doing that, you're spurring development that may otherwise not have come to that site, or have a little more control over the development that occurs there. So in the case of Lakewood, there's an opportunity to bring in higher-end Class A office space to a site that maybe would have residential if it wasn't for that designation as area of need redevelopment. So it's bringing in something valuable to the township that will bring in jobs and additional money into the township's economy. Typically, the pilots are done for a 30-year period. The law allows you to actually go up to 35 years. Which essentially gives time for you to sign the agreements and then have the property be constructed and developed. And then when it's occupied, the clock on the 30-year pilot runs from there. And they're typically based on percentage of revenue of the project. And In other cases, there are escalations each year. For the township pilots, the township was able to negotiate an annual escalation after the first couple of years into the percentage that was paid by the developer. In the case of a pilot gets 95% of the revenue. It's statutorily required that 5% goes to the county, but the rest of the other 95% goes to the township. For Lakewood, if it was traditional taxes, you would get about 30% of the tax revenue from a particular property. So clearly more money from the pilot will come to the township. Sometimes it's shared with schools. We see on residential projects where school children are coming into the community, there's more of a desire to share the pilot revenue with the schools because there's going to be an impact on having students and additional costs for educating them. But in commercial properties where students aren't coming in, a lot of times the town doesn't share those funds. And it's my understanding that the township does desire to share money with the school district in this case, which I think is a nice position. There are required built-in statutory escalations that occur later in the term of the pilot that are required to get the property closer to regular taxation. So we have those in this case as well. So over time, that particular project is closer to what it would pay on the normal tax rolls. So it's not a much lesser payment, and then all of a sudden it jumps up about 50% or something in the next year. So it gradually gets to a level of regular taxation. Ultimately, based on the escalations that were included here and receiving 95% of the pilot revenue versus 30% of what would be paid on the regular taxation, the town's going to get more money than otherwise would from these projects that are coming to what was called an area that needed redevelopment almost 20 years ago when the designation was placed and the determination was made that pilots would be used on the site.
I will open the meeting to the public. Anybody wishes to be heard on this ordinance, please come forward.
Shloime Klein, 189. The professional over here said that this is something that was done 20 years ago. I spoke to you, more than a year ago about this, and the mayor, Ray Coles, was very in favor of this. And he did explain to me is that when they went into it, it made sense. But I'm just speaking from the public. This is what a lot of people are saying, not just rumors. People are frustrated with this. We understand is that the BMG or the executive of BMG is making money out of this, and people understand is that their family is the one who pioneers from Lakewood, made it such a nice place. They have a right to cash out. But to come and say something that made sense 20 years ago, the same thing makes sense today, and the public should buy it. If you want to tell me is that we're doing this because we went into contract 20 years ago and we stuck with this because that's the agreement that we made with them, and 20 years ago it made sense, is one thing is. But if you're going to tell me, again, your license, your attorney, what are you?
Advisor.
Advisor. Do you have any license to be an advisor?
You don't need a license.
You don't need no license.
Well, there are certain required federal licenses.
I'm just trying to bring out a point. I'm not trying to make you look in the bad light, and I'm not trying to make the committee in this one look in the bad light. But in the public eyes, this is what's done today, is basically taking properties and stealing from the taxpayer. That's how the public looks at it. Because today it makes no sense. Maybe it made sense 20 years ago. So if you guys want to tell me is that we're stuck with this, I'll accept it. But if you guys want to tell me is that this is a thing that today makes sense in prime location of Lakewood to just give away property, not only giving away property, you're just giving a tax abatement on it with what you don't give on other places. And this is prime location today is, I'm sorry, if anybody, a professional, you're not a professional so you don't have to lose your license, but any professional that would recommend it should lose the license. I'm the type of guy that speaks
So
very
you address the
Yes.
You have specific
So this is my question to you, Tim, is if it makes sense today.
I want to address your point that, and attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's our understanding that this was agreed upon in the contract years ago, for 20 years, I don't know the exact date, but 20 years ago, so if the township was to not allow the pilot to go through on these projects, and there would be lawsuits and much more costly to the township. So fortunately, it was agreed to then, so we're working with what we have now, and the township's doing what they can.
So you're actually agreeing with the public's perception that today you wouldn't have done such a
I'm not
project.
saying that, I'm saying this was done years and
If
years
you
ago.
have any other comments on it, then I'll address your comments back if you want.
You got a professional over here. We should never have asked questions. You don't like my questions. You might not like the answers, and then you tell me I should address it to you. I don't mind doing that. It just, you got a point.
I don't want anybody to think that I feel that we're stuck with the pilots. The pilots are a legitimate economic development tool. All right, it's not only sometimes about the money that comes into the township, it's about the benefits that the township derives from it, and that's in the form of the jobs. There's hundreds of people working out there who are earning a good living, being able to maintain their lifestyle in Lakewood, spend their time in Lakewood rather than commuting to Philadelphia, New York, or wherever else people would have to go to earn a living in the type of a Class A environment, office space that we didn't have in Lakewood before. And it was no easy job to do it. We talked about 20 years. A lot has happened since that happened, since that agreement was reached. You had September 11th, and the whole market dried up. Then we had a recession back in the late 2000s, and that caused a lot of problems. There was talk about dropping the IDFC and putting residential in there. Think what 6,000 or 7,000 more units could have done to the town as far as what would happen.
I'm not talking about residential, talking about commercial.
We're talking, well, I'm just saying, these are things that were kicked around. But we stuck to our guns because we knew that the idea of a corporate park, the Class A office space over there, would benefit the township in the long run. Because when the pilots are done, and when the taxes are paid in full, those buildings will still be there, and those jobs for the people who are living here will be there. There's a lot more coming as far as the other buildings, because it's not fully built out yet. I'm hoping that, the money that we may be giving to the schools out of this is a short-term thing, if that needs to be fixed.
I'd like to give you the last word, but I have a point that I'm trying to understand, basically. We're not talking, I agree with you, is that place should be dedicated for office buildings like you're doing now. I don't have an objection to that. It shouldn't be housing. You stuck at the housing by Oak Street Corridor, you dumped everything over there. Yeah, that's true. But the fact is that these properties were given away technically for free to whoever you gave it away. These guys went and sold it for a big guy, but that I am okay with it, that makes money. And then we're going and we're giving them the tax abatement that no other place in Lakewood gets it. You understand my point that I'm trying to make up? It's not about the building, it's about giving away stuff that the taxpayer could have gained and now they're losing out.
I understand your point. I also, you're not understanding my point that these abatements are tools that are necessary to have people come in and invest tens of millions of dollars to build a building. There's competition all over the place for stuff like this. Look what Amazon did to the entire country, trying to put in a second headquarters. People are tripping over themselves to throw hundreds of millions of dollars at them, not because they wanted to give the taxes away, but because they wanted the benefits of the jobs that are going to come in, take care of the people who live in this town.
And
that's why I am.
And Trump wanted to tackle that problem, and you're not okay with that.
I don't know how we do.
You're Democrat.
And proud. Thanks. Anybody else want to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing nobody? We have a motion? Motion. Moved by Mike, second. Did anybody find the right one?
I went to look, it wasn't there, I gave that back.
Somebody call, please. Second. All right, moved by Mike, second by Minaj. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Coles?
Yes.
Ordinance carries. Ordinance of
I'm calling you this time of night, the messages have been helpful. All right, let's open up for the next ordinance.
Would you like me to finish reading there? Reading the ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State of New Jersey, approving the pilot application authorizing the mayor and township clerk to execute a financial agreement by and between the Township of Lakewood and Avenue Estates Office LLC pursuant to NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec for property known as a portion of Block 961.02, Lot 1, proposed Lot 1.06, as shown in the official tax map of the Township of Lakewood, located in the Cedar Ridge redevelopment plan area.
Open the meeting to the public on this ordinance only.
Shloimeh Klein, 189 Chateau, there was a commotion going on. It seems like one of the committee members, they were all, other one is also not here, but I guess he has an excuse. And they're looking for him. It seems like the mayor wants this committee man to vote on this ordinance. For some reason, I'm just trying, it was a drama going on over
The
here.
mayor is concerned because the committee recused himself from one vote, said I'll be back in a minute, and didn't come back. I'm worried that there's a reason why he didn't come back, and that's what I'm trying to find.
So it looks like, listen, I'm sort of looking the way it looks from the public, that there is some friction going on in the committee over here. That's how it looks like. And you're upset that one of the committee goes, and last week when Mr. Menashe Miller,
It's on this ordinance.
it's on this ordinance, he's not here.
But that has nothing to do with the substance of the ordinance and your comments about it.
Okay, so this is, again, it's stuff that I'm speaking from the public. The way these ordinances are going about is, this is the way the public feels, and I have a right to express it. That you, mayor, are pushing for it, and the committee is voting for it, is because it's done because the Bob is asking you to do it. You might disagree with that, I know, but I'm just saying it's how the public looks at it. And the Bob is recommending you, the head of the Bob, let's put it this way, is recommending you to vote on it, even though it makes no sense. And in return, they gave you the votes. So vote gives them the authority to tell you to vote on it, and you have to vote. So it's like votes, so the votes that they bring you, so they have a thing that is called Das Heute that they use to get the votes, to vote you guys in, and in return, you have to vote on these type of ordinances. Again, in my definition, it might not look kosher, but it's legal. Let's put it this way. There's other stuff that might not be so, you know what I'm saying, I just want to make sure this is not what's happening over here. There's other things like, say, is that you will have some, I know for a fact there's some wealthy people in this town that give money. They want to give money. I'm not saying that there's any takers, but if there will be takers for this will be highly illegal. And what is mind-boggling is that all these ordinances are coming up now before the next year, and it just pushed in now the last thing of this year, when I just heard that these people, the givers, want one of the committee men to be mayor next year. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to go into all that. I'm just saying is there's a lot of friction over here, and I see, could be that boiling down from that. So I just want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, is that things have to make sense. If things are not going to make sense, like this ordinance in the public eyes, let's say you would not be mayor. You know, I'm almost sure that you're recommending this is only because of the first reason, because the Bob is telling you to do it. It's not because somebody gave you something. But it wouldn't be you the mayor, it would have been somebody else. People might have thought differently. So I'm just saying is for next year, whoever the mayor is going to be, you have to be very careful when these type of ordinances are coming up to make sure the public has the right perception, not that people should start thinking that something non-kosher is going on. I'm just saying this, people don't like this. In the public, I am from the public. I hear what people are calling me up and saying. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Nobody comes up over here and screams because nobody wants their kids to be kicked out of school. That's what's happening. Don't know why they were not able to accomplish it by me, but the fact is people do not want to speak up. But it doesn't make sense. And you know, whichever way you want to wash it, but the end of the game is, you know, I understand you have to listen to the law, and that is a good excuse, it's legal. But please, next year, whoever's going to be the mayor, and if it's not going to be you, it's going to be somebody else, especially somebody else, they have to make sure that people shouldn't get the wrong message how things work in the township. Thank you.
Anybody else like to be heard? Close the public hearing. Have a motion? Moved by Knopf, second by Mike, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Committeeman Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Anthony, I'm sorry, before we go to the next, you're free to leave if you like. I appreciate you coming down. I meant to let you go right after. All right, next ordinance.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, approving the pilot application authorizing the mayor and township clerk to execute financial agreement by and between the Township of Lakewood and Cedar Ridge Equity Urban Renewal LLC pursuant to NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec for property located at block 961, lot 2.05, as shown on the official tax map of the Township of Lakewood located in the Cedar Ridge redevelopment plan area.
Open the meeting to the public.
Shlomo Klein, 189 Chateau. These properties, and one of them is this ordinance, was bought from the township, like was over 200 acres, bought from the township for $10. They got a something from the government, how it's called, and they were able to put in infrastructure, and most of it came from the government, and the rest of it, they made money in selling a portion of it for residential housing. So it didn't cost them anything. Then they went and sold these properties to individuals. Just my question is, do you know how much money this middle guy, or whatever, and again, I have no problem, a Jew made money. I have no problem with it, he should serve him well, and if he's using it for good deeds, even better. But I just want to know, does the township know how much money was exchanged over here?
I don't know personally, I'm sure somebody in the township does, but I have to track that down.
So legally, will I be able to get that information? That means is if I Oprah, let's put it down with Oprah because they're giving us a hard time. Now, recently, the last day, you were good, you were very good. Katie, you were very good.
You came out in the ordinance.
Yes. She gave me that look, I had to, yeah.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. So, no, I don't want you to feel that I'm accusing you of anything wrong. I'm not.
Let me ask Steve.
What?
Does the township have to keep track of how much the parcel was sold for after we turned it over to Cedar Bridge?
Not at all.
And if we did know, would that be an overall thing?
No, it's not required to keep my law.
So, that is, I'm telling you the public's eye, how we look at it. You have a way, you have now with the Lakewood Industrial Commission, got 60 acres, and they're dividing it and they're selling it. If we want to know how much money everybody paid for it, we could know. And you could have done the same thing over here. You could take this 200 acres, turn it over to the Lakewood Industrial Commission, give this guy Ryman that is getting a big, huge payment for his job, because probably he's doing it well. And basically do the same thing and sell this property. What these guys were doing, Lakewood Industrial Commission now is doing it on 60 acres. So you could have done the same thing, and the township makes money on this. The township sells these properties next to the airport, the 60 acres, and they make a lot of money. I don't know how much, because probably it has to be appraised, and the mayor have to sign off on it, and you promised me is that you won't let anybody make chachmas going on over there, you will make sure that everybody pays the full value, and you won't sign off on it if you see that it looks hunky-dunky. But over here, we have the same idea as the Lakewood Industrial Commission is doing now. We have over here a private entity, went into 20 years ago with an agreement. You could say now it doesn't make sense and then, but you don't want to agree to that. So we have now the guy is selling every parcel that he didn't put in a penny except for the $10 that I don't even know he paid you. And basically he's making hundreds, I'm not saying is, I won't do thousands, I'll say millions of dollars on the taxpayer's expense. He could have made that money. So I don't understand why now you have 60 acres and you didn't go bid it out and try to get somebody to do what the Lakewood Industrial Commission is doing then. And now you have something that 20 years ago was done, and you're still sticking around, and you're saying is, we wouldn't do it now on Airport Road, that you have the Industrial Commission, next to the airport, you have the Industrial Commission doing this kind of bidding out parcel what this guy is doing, and you're letting this guy make millions of dollars for the Lakewood taxpayer could have made on it. Was I explaining myself good, or I need to repeat? Not good.
The airport property is not being done by highest bid. They are soliciting proposals, the same way the township solicited proposals for the Cedar Bridge tract 20 years ago. Those proposals were brought in, and a contract was signed, the contract is binding. We're honoring that contract. I'm proud to honor that contract again, because in addition to money, we're getting intangibles like people being able to work close to home. I was in one of the buildings a few weeks ago, and there are a couple of hundred people from town who work there that are making a decent living, that may not have that opportunity to make a living that good this close to home. So you're right from the standpoint of, is it theoretically possible to make more money on something? Yes, but it's not just a matter of money. It's a matter of economic development, bringing opportunities for people to town. The abatement program and the pilot program aren't based on saving money for developers. It's to bring in opportunity for people to earn a living, to bring rentables to town. Cedar Bridge is doing both, and I am proud to be associated with it.
I'll let you have the last word on this ordinance.
I will close the public hearing on this ordinance. Approve it. Approved by Mike. Second. Second by Manat. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Biller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Coles?
Yes.
Ordinance carried. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State of New Jersey, approving the pilot application authorizing the mayor and the township clerk to execute a financial agreement by and between the Township of Lakewood and Cedar Bridge Office Urban Renewal LLC pursuant to NJSA 48:20-1 et sec for property located at block 961.01 lot 4 as shown on the official tax map of the Township of Lakewood located in the Cedar Bridge redevelopment plan area.
You take that, I can wait.
Well, Tom, hello?
Open the meeting.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a meeting, and I'll call you back.
Thank
Like this, name and address, my name is Logan, and it's 189 Chateau.
Somebody else like to know where we're calling?
First you invite me over here, and then I'll invite you over there. The mayor just said before, I want to explain to what mayor said in the previous ordinance, and maybe I started to understand what's going on over here. He's saying is this is a pilot program. I was talking over here is about selling the property. So the mayor is saying this. Listen, about selling the property, we might be wrong. We shouldn't have done that. We should have done it the way we're doing it now in the Lakewood Industrial Commission. We could have made more money. We didn't do it, it was 20 years ago. But the fact of the matter, this ordinance is not talking now about selling the property. It's talking about, we did already that mistake, we could have made millions of dollars and we didn't. Somebody else made the money, we are happy for him. It's a member of the board, he's the head of the board, he's the executive from the yeshiva. Hopefully, as I hope one thing is, he's taking that money and using it for BMG and it will go in for greater good, and then everybody's happy. But this ordinance is talking about now that we're past that, we want to have businesses. This guy is selling it for millions of dollars, these properties. We want to be able, they should be able to sell it, that people should have this tax abatement to give him an incentive to move in. And if this incentive gives him a better chance of selling the property even for more money, because what do you think happens? If he could sell a property that has a tax abatement for 30 years, what happens? What?
Now it's still a message for the growth.
He might sell the property for more money. Who makes the money? The little guy over here, not the township. Because if the township would have sold the property and charged money for it,
and then they ask the tax abatement, the value goes down. If they wouldn't give a tax abatement, the value goes up. They give a tax abatement, the value goes down. And the opposite. You can charge more money for a property that has a tax abatement. So I'm not sure that is attractive to businesses. If you would have told the businesses, we were going to sell everybody, not for $10 a property, we're going to sell this at value for $2 million, we'll sell you for $1 million. That would have attracted businesses too to come and build and make offices. So ultimately, this ordinance is somehow feeding into that this middle guy that is doing great things with his money is making more money because we're giving him a tax abatement. But who is losing out? The taxpayer. Because they didn't get a dime for that property. Actually, they got $10. So but I want you should sue me. Somebody should sue me that will say that came in public and saying he didn't get anything. He paid $10 for this property for 200 and something acres. 260 acres, I think it is. He paid $10. But in return, the township is giving a tax abatement that the taxpayer is gaining nothing except this individual that can sell it for more money. I'm just trying to bring out this as the last ordinance and this is the last time I'll give you the opportunity to give your opinion why you think it is right. I still don't understand your way. You spoke to me in private and you explained yourself, and I see you feeling for it, that it's not because the Bob is forcing you, that's the reason why you're doing it is. You feel that this is the right thing it is, but as much as I was looking into it, and as much as I was speaking to people about it, is nobody could make sense out of it. Maybe you should have a meeting with Mr. Kotler, Aaron Kotler, maybe he will be able to explain it to me better, but they say in Hebrew, the student in Azgude is the student in Abuda, the same thing, the opposite. That means is, if you can't explain something, means is you don't understand it. So, and the same thing is on me. If I don't understand something, it means is that you're not explaining it. So, I'm giving you another chance.
I explained it to my heart's content. Thank you. Anybody else like to be heard on this ordinance? Do we know whether to close the public hearing? No. Second. Moved by Mike, second by Rocco. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller? Mayor Cole?
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Article 8 Design Standards, Section 18-803 F and 18-815.1.9, disallow fencing around detention basins.
Open the meeting to the public on this ordinance?
What is this ordinance all about? You want to hear my name again?
Yes.
Shloime Klein, 189 Chazelle.
Harold, could you please give Mr. Klein a brief explanation of what we're adopting here?
Engineering department requested that we beef up the ordinance concerning fences around detention basins, and there's two sentences being included. If you take a look at the ordinances in the packet, it adds one sentence that says the drawings shall show all easements. That's it, it's 18803 F3 as subparagraph C. That's one sentence that's added to it. The other provision is section 22 of that same ordinance that indicates no improvements such as fences or buffer landscaping shall be permitted within any drainage easement. The reason for the request was that our DPW people cannot get into certain detention basins to do cleanup or maintenance of them because folks are putting fences around them. The purpose of the ordinance, the request of engineering, was to allow us access to get in. That's all the ordinance is.
So that means is now you will have open drainage basins for kids to run into?
No. There's going to be fencing. There's going to be a gate or some way of access, and Pat can probably speak to that as a former DPW director.
But again, I'm asking you, as the way the ordinance is written, there might be an issue.
No, because it indicates that the drawings have to show all easements, if there's an easement across the property.
But no fencing.
Yeah.
If there's no fencing, it's dangerous for the children.
No, it's not.
Why not?
It's basic.
Right.
There's a fence around it.
Well, there is a fence.
There's a fence around it. Hear me out. There's a fence around it. We currently have no access to enter to maintain it. This ordinance revises it in order for us to now have a gate and I can get equipment inside to maintain it. That's what this ordinance is helping us with.
So it should say allowing a gate.
The wording is misleading.
It's misleading, yes, but that's all it is. It's just giving
Why
us
is this
access.
not corrected? I'm just saying, why is this ordinance, if you spoke about it, why is this ordinance not being corrected when it comes to the public hearing? No, I'm not trying to make you guys look bad. I just don't want the Justice Planning Commission to come up at the planning board meeting and saying there's no fences, we want kids to go in there and drown.
Thank you, Mr. Klein.
I'm just making a point. What is with this problem? What?
We went off the subject. We just.
I will make sure that any future explanations are a little bit more succinct than.
But what is with this ordinance now? Is it going to be adopted wrong?
It's not wrong, it's
The way the ordinance is now written, it says is
Does
that.
this allow fencing in the body of the ordinance, or is that just an explanation at the end of the title of the ordinance?
So explanation at the end, this language was going to provide the engineers with.
So it's not in the ordinance is correct, it's an explanation.
So that means that accordingly to this ordinance, there will be fences around the drainage basins that children should not be able to go
The
in.
only difference that we have a gate that Public Works committed to the maintenance on.
So there will be a gate that the public works could open.
Correct.
So who's going to keep that, it's going to be locked or not going to be locked?
Right, how do you handle locks on?
It's locked. Generally, the HOA has the key and the public works has the key.
So this ordinance provides that it has to be an opening.
Correct. Remember the fence, the opening, the equipment. Fence.
Like every drainage basin in Lakewood that I know has that.
Potentially.
So it says we disallow fencing around the detention basin, that is not talking about opening.
It was a description that I put at the end of the ordinance.
Oh, yeah.
It's not new.
Okay. I assume that the professionals, and what's the name of the new manager? Patrick. I spoke to him, I had a meeting with him, and I met him, and I think the guy knows what he's doing. And if he says that he feels that this ordinance accomplishes what you just mentioned over here, and you're comfortable with it, I'll let it pass. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me pass. I appreciate it.
Anybody else want to question?
Motion.
Second by Mike, second by Menashe, any discussion? Roll call?
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, releasing, extinguishing, and vacating the rights of the public to a portion of Old Brook Road, said portions being at its intersection with Brook Road, and to further accept the dedication of property and transfer a portion of property to adjoining property so as to align Old Brook Road with Imperial Court in the Township of Lakewood.
Open the meeting to the public on this ordinance. Are you coming forward, or can I close it?
No, I'm coming, I'll make it short, and I'm going to go home. Be jealous of Isaac.
I'm worried about Isaac.
I just, Brian was here before he explained it to me, but I just want to make sure the public doesn't get the wrong perception that you're vacating the end roads. He explained to me that you're lining roads and everything looks good. I just wanted to put it on, the mayor should put it on record that this is not vacating a road, another road, like, especially in Brook Road.
I'd be happy to if Brian had stolen my thunder by telling me first.
I'm just not over here, Brian telling me. I'm over here, I asked Brian who's going out to the podium to speak, he tells me no. I just wanted to make sure that the public knows. Obviously, the public is watching it, and whoever's not watching it now because it's too long, is going to watch it maybe tomorrow. They should know that this is not talking about a vacation, this is just
A reminder, so that it's safe. Anybody else like to be heard? Seeing nobody, will close the public hearing. Motion. Moved by Mike. Second. By Menashe, any discussion? Roll call?
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the mayor to execute a financial agreement by and between the Township of Lakewood and Pine Holdings Urban Renewal LLC pursuant to NJSA 48:20-1 and sec for property located at Block 5 and Block 961.01 as shown on the official tax map of the Township of Lakewood located in the Cedar Ridge Redevelopment Plan area.
Open the meeting to the public.
So again, this is another piece of that property,
Close, not name and address, please.
189 Chateau,
talking again about that property, Cedar Ridge development. And talking about giving, is there anybody else, the mayor doesn't want to explain it to me anymore. Is there any, again, the mayor doesn't have to let other committee men speak, but does anybody else over here could explain it differently or the same thing, maybe different words that I'll be able to understand it? Mike?
As far as I'm concerned, I was going to say this under comments. I thank the mayor. I think he explained it fully as best he could, and I don't know what to say to you. I think that he has explained it to you. There's nothing else he can say, I don't believe.
So you agree that this is a good thing to do even today? You would have done it over again today?
Yes.
I'm sorry for putting you in the spot, but Isaac is not here. Do you feel that this ordinance is the correct thing to do? I know you're a graduate from DMG, and I don't know if you were, no? No? Do you agree that this ordinance?
My understanding from Mayor Cole, it took place 20 years ago, it's irrelevant to what happens today.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else that should be heard? Nobody? Moved by Mike. Second by Minaj. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes.
And it's passed.
Thank you. No ordinances for first reading. Any other correspondence? No. Have a motion for the bill list of December 12th. Second by Minaj, second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Comments from committee members?
I have nothing to say, no.
Just want to wish everybody enjoy the holidays, have a happy new year, if we don't see you, get home safely. Thanks for a wonderful year.
Motion. Motion, sir.
Moved by Mike, second.
This was a long meeting for us.
This is nothing compared to always.
That's funny. Well, that's 23 years ago, they go 2-3 hours.
And then go back into closed session at 9 o'clock.
Good night.